so it is. Greetings, my beloved brothers and sisters. I am Ekara. I stand in front of you as a sovereign being, reminding you of who you are. I stand in front of you as an ambassador of love and joy and freedom, reminding you of who you are. I stand in front of you to reach out my hand, to reach out my heart, as we together combine who we are on the bridge of imagination, moving from the land of awakening into the land of ascension. A process that will take you, by the way, into a field that will be a non-stop change. Change is something you better get used to from this moment onward, because change will be all there is. I once was a Lemurian being, a being that lived in a peaceful, spiritual, egoless society, created only for art, created only for beauty, created only as an expansion of this cosmos and this universe and all other things. And as such, I have the ability, just like you, by the way, to be with you in this moment and to truly grasp what that means. And before we go on, we might want to choose to latch on to that idea, that even though I stand in front of a technological device, bridging my concrete reality to your abstract one, the reverse can also be said. You, in your concrete reality, sit in front of a tunnel of technology, bridging you to an abstract reality, and in that exchange, we are connected. All of you are here in this room, and I see all of you, and I am there with you, together with everyone else who is here right now. Of course, you know all of these things, but I would believe that it would be a good reminder to focus on that and to understand that your reality is not complete without having that bridge, without having that gap alive within yourself. So where is this aliveness exactly? This idea that we are bridging the abstract and the concrete right now. One would, if understanding the nature of physics, very quickly turn to the idea of quantum. The quantum physics, the quantum understanding of the universe would indeed bridge that gap for you. But do not forget that that knowingness is only a mental one. Science today understands the level of quantum on a mental plane. That is yet to be experienced by most of you out there. If you take all of this in stride, there must be a place inside of you where this quantum connection between us occurs. And partly the place where we are standing now together, the wide gate, the wide bridge between your imaginations, the moment between heartbeats, signifies that place. It is your access point, this gateway in your head, as it is connected to the gateway in your chest, this akonai and this akene, your access point to these dimensions that are yet to be discovered by science. How this is, why this works, that is something that I would like to focus on today, as I understand that you are still processing much of the information given to you by the being known as Lorian, a fellow colleague of mine, if you will. He stands beyond the bridge, further than where I presently find myself right now. And in that knowingness, you and I are standing at that place where this Lorian being is. That is the nature of holographic information. So as a part of you is still processing this, still observing what it means to integrate this information into your soul, the information that has been provided about alchemy and ascension, please know that what we will undertake today is a little bit more of a mental process. I want you to understand certain things. Understand certain things to a point where the mind can follow. Because do not forget that this being that you now know as Lorien, in an ascended state really, from the moment of its creation, the first one of the Akonai, is nothing more or nothing less than your sacred mind. It is the result of the 11th quantum dimension which you are having given your mind sovereignty. And so it was birthed in the 12th quantum dimension, to which you and I will be known as angelic beings. This is the way of things. This is the way of the horizontal field. And so, as you become aware of this, maybe you can understand, maybe you can grasp that there is a place within you where your inner dimensions are accessed. This 12th quantum dimension does not exist anywhere else but inside of you. This is the nature of dimension, size being a very important factor in all of that. Taking all of this to a little conclusion and closing off my first few paragraphs, let's say, of this talk, be aware that on the level of biological DNA, there is a vertical plane. It is the chemicals that are connecting both biological strands together, the chemicals that in themselves, in their smallest version of themselves, contain the gateways to these very tiny dimensions from your perspective. And as such, it is necessary to work with your DNA. This is what we'll do today. Work with your DNA so it can basically support your exercises that you will be undertaking in the course of this series. This is why the being known as Lorien opened up some of the more interesting questions about your DNA that we will explore also. Alright. Knowing all of this, I want to talk to you about one of the very important topics at the beginning of this series, the pineal gland. The connection between the defined within you and the undefined, which would be these minute dimensions that exist on the deeper planes, the deeper realms of you. Only when connected to the Akane, the 144 akaneic cells behind your thymus and your solar plexus area, are you able to experience these things that Lorien has already invited you to experience on the plane that you so far did experience them on. However, there is a third point that needs to be connected for the experience really to be taken to the next level. As you know, there is the Akonai, the Akene right here in the chest, and much lower on the body, in the third chakra, or the passion chakra really, what the Lemurians once called the Adonai. This is a very interesting space because it actually is neither defined nor undefined. Rather, it is non-defined. And there is a difference between an undefined space and a non-defined space. An undefined space is only undefined because it is in the process of being defined. Much like you are about to bridge into the 12th quantum dimension to start your defining there, which Lorien as a being already is the result of. But a non-defined space is necessary between a point of definition and a point of undefinition, in order for you to explore both. So this non-defined space becomes the point of action, the true point of action. And this is the space that is the Adonai. This is also the space where your DNA ends. If your Akonai at the top of your head is the space where your energy strands of DNA begin, then the Adonai is the place where they end. And the Akenaic principle exists as an undefined space in the middle, creating a field of tension for you to explore your reality, for you to dive in, let's say, and choose what you want to experience. The disconnection of these three spaces is what has kept you locked into the mental, is what has kept you locked into the realm of 3D and matter. So these 3 points then, at the same time, also act as, how shall we say, a vibrational translation device. It is within these realms of the Akonai, the Akenei, and the Adonai that you can choose how you translate the vibrations and the frequencies that are around you. Let this be known to the mind so that it knows where to look in the exploration that is about to come. We tell you these things to keep the mind busy really, so that you are allowed access into a deeper space, a space of true exploration. Now, a very long time ago, and this goes back way beyond anything that you know as Atlantis or Lemuria. This goes back into the civilizations of Volania and many others that came before. There have been hundreds of them. At one point, all of them biological, at one point, a very, very long time ago, there lived a race that very much resembled the human race, except for one thing. Their creational biological equation was not dual, but trial. This means that if you look at your body and you see a general division in 2 different parts, for instance having 2 different lungs, 2 mirroring lungs as well, the same with your hands and with your eyes, etc. This race was in a state of triality, meaning that everything was reflected in 3s, and as such there were not 2 lobes of the brain, but 3 lobes of the brain. This 3rd lobe of the brain did remain in your biological evolution and is still present, on active be it, in your DNA as what you know today as the pineal gland. It is time for all of you to begin thinking of the pineal gland as a lobe. To allow this lobe to develop itself is to give space in your brain for a true non-defined area, where the non-defined, the undefined and the defined come together. This pineal gland in our observations will grow in coming years, will allow you to develop this 3rd lobe of the brain once again, although it will not have an impact on the rest of your biology. Instead, the pineal lobe will be the lobe that ends up processing, let's say, all 142 energy strands of DNA. And this is quite an important fact to know, because the exercise that you have already undertaken, the one including the exploration of the neocortex and the pineal gland and the firing off of images onto the pineal gland coming from the neocortex, will become a much more important device for creating your reality. Because if it is true that the 142 energy strands of DNA truly belong to the horizontal field instead of the vertical field, and your biological strands of DNA, being 2, belong to the vertical field, then you see that the energy of your pineal lobe, or your akonai, is horizontal in nature. Activate that, and you will regain the ability to truly travel on this vertical plane and access anything that you need to access there. In order to truly understand this, we must again turn to the nature of DNA. Quite simply put, DNA responds to what you create. And when kept in a state long enough of creating the exact same thing over and over and over again, these strands of DNA that are not necessary for the expression of your experience and the manifestations of your imagination quite literally shut down. In this shutdown, you have lost the ability to navigate. And one of the first steps that we must take together is to regain that ability. In order to do that, I must bring you, my dear brothers and sisters, to a point of understanding that you at this current moment are working with limited senses. And of course then there are many of you here today that would think that I am talking about the current senses of the human body and their limited ability to pick up certain vibrations and frequencies. For instance, the eyes cannot see the infrared spectrum. This is because of a limitation of those senses, as they are only plugged into the biological strands. However, you must understand that with the activation of the 142 energy strands, more senses will come into your experience. And this is going to be my part of this Alchemy of Ascension series, where I will take you through the 12 senses of the human body. The 12 senses, actually, to be more correct, of the angelic body. 12 senses, and as always within divine geometry, we have a nice way of creating a flower of life kind of diagram around these senses, which, if you will, is now projected into your neocortex so that you can observe this. 12 times 12 creates 144. So 12 senses connected to 144 energy strands in total means that every sense that we will discuss is connected to a total series of 12 DNA strands. One sense connected to 12 DNA strands, another one connected to another 12, etc., etc., etc. And so as we activate these strands, these senses within your realm will begin to reactivate as well. These are energy senses, mind you, not biological senses. It does not mean that all of a sudden you are going to grow a new organ somewhere on the side of your head, which is going to become a new sense of smelling energy or something like that. This is not what I'm talking about. You will understand that as we go on this journey, as we go explore these 12 senses, that what I mean when I'm saying the word senses, I am talking about things that already you are aware of in your reality. Only you are observing them differently. And this is how it always works, really. The more your awareness grows, the more you move into Ascension status, which basically simply means a completely activated DNA grid and the ability to move in and out of every dimension. The having left behind all the grand illusions, if you will, you now open up to a state of moving beyond all of these things. You will begin to know that the realm that you currently observe as 3D is much more connected to your perception than you currently understand. And I'll give you an example, for instance. What could be a new sense, a different sense that you have not yet considered to be a sense? I'm going to think about one here, one out of these 12, and the first one I would think of right now, because of the act of thinking, is thinking itself. Thinking is a human sense. This is a very interesting idea, because if you tie the idea of thinking as a sense to the knowledge of your senses that you have so far, then this means that the sense of thinking simply shows you the way reality at this moment of its creation is. The sense of sight, for instance, translates for you the vibrations that your brain can manage with the active or non-active pineal lobe, if you will, and shows you how reality is shaped around you. You can literally see it. The sense of touch then allows you to touch it, and the sense of smell allows you to smell it, and so your reality is formed. But the sense of thought simply means the same thing. This makes your thoughts a very different creature than what you previously have conceived it as. It simply means that a thought is a translation of your current universe coming into you, much in the same way than eyesight, for instance, would come into you and give you a perception of your reality paradigm. Thoughts are simply frequencies attracted to move into a vibrational realm, which you are. You are the vibrational realm, attracting thoughts as translations of what simply is around you. So thoughts then can become, let's think of the animal known as a bat, for instance, who uses radar to perceive what is around it. Thoughts are the same thing. So if you feel certain thoughts coming into your field, coming into your head, then you can observe them as a barometer of the reality you are in. This makes thoughts very impersonal, really. It simply makes them it simply makes them a perception of your reality. And it shows you, just like eyesight, that that path over there where there is a fire is not the best one to travel to. This is what the sense of sight and smell, for instance, would tell you if you are on a crossroads and there is a traffic accident over there and you do not choose to move into it. And yet, when you have one of these thoughts that basically indicates a traffic accident of frequency in your reality, you move into it. You choose to go there. And then you wonder, and this is very basic stuff, guys. This is very basic information. You choose to wonder why you create more of it. And then some of you out there would say, oh, but if I see a traffic accident, I want to help. Yes, but there is a difference between helping and getting caught up in a reality. There would be no point to move into a traffic jam and a traffic accident at the front of the traffic jam and walk up to the person who is hurt, and then when you, instead of helping that person, choose to hit your own head on the dashboard so you too are now in pain, you really are not much of an assistance to that person. And yet that is what you do all the time. Humans do this all the time. They feel a thought realm somewhere out there, and usually a negative one, and they move into it, and they become that. They become that thought. They become that sense of thinking. Instead of them being in control of the awareness that thinking is merely a translator of the reality you are currently in, you start to become that thought. And slowly you start creating more of the same. Unfortunately, this is so. And this is a new way of looking at thoughts here. Because we have always said, and so many with me have always said, that thoughts are simply generated by the mind. But what happens in an angelic realm that is about to be born right here? What happens if there is no mind? What happens if the sacred mind has already been birthed and now occupies a different space where it sovereignly executes its own evolution? Then these thoughts, this sense of thinking, will no longer be picking up your mind, but simply will be picking up the reality around you. And it will become so much easier to change these thoughts. It becomes so much easier to stop the process of going through the thoughts. This is why already a little while ago many of us have told you to stop processing, to stop looping, and simply to make a choice to move out of a certain range of thoughts. It is that simple, really. And thoughts, however, have dominated you for so long. That is why there is such a fascination to it. That is why there is such a attraction to go there, to move there, to become it. But simply understanding that thinking is but a sense, such as eyesight, then you begin to choose the beautiful thoughts, to focus on that aspect of reality. Much like if you have an ugly painting, for instance, and a more beautiful painting on the other side of the wall, you're not going to be watching the ugly painting. Your eyes are going to drift to what you think is beautiful. Start treating your own thoughts that way, and very quickly they will become as impersonal to you as the ugly painting. And maybe when the ugly painting is not observed, but a more beautiful painting is observed, these thoughts will start to move away. So thinking being a sense. It is not my point tonight to move into the idea of thinking as a sense and to explore that too deeply, because this is something we will do at another point. The sense that I would like to discuss tonight is the sense of time, and connected to that, the sense of acceleration. Now, acceleration itself is not a sense. It is the result of a sense. Time, being a sense, can also, as I explained already with thinking, be observed as a very impersonal thing, and yet you have a very, very close connection to the sense of time. You have a very close relationship to it, because at current, with most people on earth, it dominates your entire reality. It completely takes you in its grip and tells you where you have to be at what given point. And again, this is as ridiculous to the evolved version of yourself as it would be with the sense of thinking. Think about it. Time, seen as something outside of you, is simply a translation device for you to observe your reality. Do you understand this? Let's go back to the sense of sight. If you were to be in a room and there would be a bright light in the room shining in your eyes, annoying you quite literally, do you choose to start focusing on it every day? Do you choose to sit in front of that light every day and expose yourself to it as it hurts your sense of sight? No. You choose to move the light source away, or you choose to dim the light. And yet with time, which is also a sense, you choose to focus on it every single year. It has increased. Every single year of your life. And this has been going on for a lot of lifetimes. The focus on time, where you begin to lose the fact that time is merely a translation device known as a sense to translate your reality, has increased. Think back 300 years. How different your relationship with time was back then. Now, why is time connected to acceleration? Because the more you focus on a certain sense, especially through the third brain, the more intense this sense will become in your reality. And so time has become an enormous obstacle for most people. Reclaim the idea that time is but a sense. Let's say that you have created a reality for yourself where time is very prevalent and you have to move from one moment of time to the other, to the other, to the other, and this dominates your reality. That simply means that you have created a very small energy pocket to exist in, meaning that it gives you very little space to be free, and a sovereign being then simply makes the choice to change that. This would slow down the acceleration. This would allow the sense to flow more naturally through your energy field again. And if you begin to understand that the sense of time, much like the 12 senses that we will discuss, is simply connected to 12 energy strands of DNA, then you understand that changing your perception of time is going to open up exactly those 12 energy strands of DNA, allowing you to have a different perception on your reality. These are the practical things that DNA will begin to teach you. DNA is as much a part of your body as are your hands, and basically very similar to the concept of hands. Hands give you the possibility to pick things up, to move things around, to shape your reality, to create your reality in the material world at least. And your DNA does this for you in the energy realms. So it is not so much an impersonal thing. It is a conscious part of you, allowing you to move through the energy realms that you will become aware of in a very short time, depending on how you integrate this holographic manifest, this holographic coming together of information. So the sense of time and acceleration connected to 12 energy strands indicates that there must be one sense that merely is connected to 10 energy strands and to the 2 biological ones. Otherwise, a geometry of 12 in 144 does not hold. Now there is one sense, only one, that also contains with it the energy strands of DNA and the 2 biological strands of DNA, and that is the sense of thinking. The sense of thinking impacts enormously heavy on your 2 biological strands, and that is why your thoughts create your universe as it is today, because they are connected to the biological strands. There is a way to move away from containing the universe in the way that you do it by connecting the sense of time, which is connected to 12 energy strands, to the sense of thinking. Because the sense of time has the ability to accelerate or decelerate your reality perception. Are you beginning to see how easy a being you really are, and how nice it is to begin observing these things in a different light? Many of you do not quite know how to take my words at this moment. Many of you do not know what it means really to have a sense of thinking. So what we will do in the course of this holographic information session is to implant a deeper level where either after this session or during this session, as you listen to it repeatedly, you will have the ability to explore the sense of time, and including the sense of thinking, and what this truly means. We will show you, as this choice is being downloaded onto your neocortex, and from there into the pineal lobe, how it works, how thoughts can be perceived as simple senses, how thoughts can be perceived as indicators, radars really, for the current state of reality you are in, and how this also works for time. So take the time, if you will, either after this session or the next time that you listen to it, to really allow to move yourself beyond the words and use the hour or so that we will be together for that very purpose. Alright. So let's move a little deeper then. Let's move a little bit further into all of this. It is, of course, with great pleasure that I stand in front of you here tonight. Great pleasure because my main reason for being, let's say, has always been to clean up the timelines. In the quantum universe, it is normal that there would be many timelines, many alternate realities, many potentials for time, etc., 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 as you are continuously confronted by choices which to you now seem as something outside of you as well, instead of you make the choice. But choice, again, is a sense. And we will go into that a little bit deeper at some other point. However, having the ability now to stand here in front of you, knowing that this goal that has been mine and yours together has been achieved, knowing that we stand on the bridge, knowing that finally we can talk beyond the point of theory and really move you into the realms of experience and exploration and start playing together in that way, gives us so much more freedom. You must understand that it is not about these words that are being spoken right now, that this is just a reality screen really, which is called a channeling, that is presented to you, so your focus stays on the connection between our energies. These words are merely a sense as well. So what is the energy of the word? The sense of speech. You will notice, as we continue, that some of these senses are connected to a very important facet of vibrational and frequential creation. And this is the essence of sound. So the sense of speech basically is the essence of sound. And now we come to a very interesting place, because this means that you will begin to understand that your senses are a practical realization of your essence. And it is the essence of your angelic self, of your divine self, to be 12-fold. So 12 senses then, expressing 12 different essences of what you truly are, is what we, you and I together, will discuss in my aspects to this series and my contributions to this series. Let all of this have been a little introduction, my friends. I want to start focusing now on a more, let's say, a more clear topic and dive in a little deeper. And I want to take us back to what I said at the very beginning of my talk to you tonight. I want to take us back to the connection between the Akonai and the Akene, and something which I have identified for you now as the Adonai, the non-defined. What makes this connection possible? What is it inside of you that gives you the ability to truly move beyond these realms, to truly step into what you have defined as an ascension status? What is the thing the very thing that connects these three important points inside of yourself. Think about it for a little while. And now you see why you have to start treating your thoughts differently. You cannot come up with an explanation that is provided by a thought that the brain or the mind simply doesn't know. It's impossible to do that. You are still in the status of accepting thoughts as things that are out there that can come into your head and that can shape your reality. This really is what we have to achieve tonight. This really is what we have to achieve in this session. You need to start taking things less personal. The things around you, the things that occur in your reality, the thoughts that come in, all of these things are changeable. None of these things are real. You will gain that ability to totally re-identify, reshape, recreate your reality. But I must warn you, you cannot step further onto this bridge until you truly make the choice, which is a sense, to start observing your reality this way. All of you carry this knowledge. All of you share these insights that we've been talking about for years now. And all of you have gotten frustrated. All of you find yourselves at a point where you no longer need to do, where you no longer know what to do, my apologies, and where you get frustrated over the basics really. Where you get frustrated over how to get in your heart. Where you get frustrated over little things like generating money. Where you get frustrated over fear that stops you from making certain choices. Where you get frustrated over believing in what you believe in and yet not see the results in your reality. And you throw that frustration to us. You throw it at myself, you throw it at the Count Saint Germain, you throw it at Mr. Lal Singh, you throw it at Tobias, you throw it at Michael, you throw it at all of us. And we say, good. Throw it. Let's keep it coming. That frustration, ladies and gentlemen, is nothing else but a sense. Alright, I would not define it as a sense. I would not define the sense of frustration. But I would define impatience as a sense. Why? Impatience as a sense is a direct opponent of the sense of time. And so there is balance. When you allow the sense of time to be observed as a sense, then you will notice that you no longer want to wait on things. That you no longer choose to go through 144 courses, let's say, to explore a certain area of yourself. That you no longer choose to take life the way it is. And that it's time for a change. Well, that is the point where you truly will begin to access this information. That is the point where you truly will say, fuck it all. Fuck it all. I'm done. I'm over it. Being human has been a nice experience and I would like to come and play in here sometimes, but I am so done with it. I am over it and I'm stepping through it. Or rather, I will own it. I will make it mine. I will claim it as that which I am. That which I am. Lorian himself has told you that it is a very peculiar thing for him, her, if we may give it an identity of gender. Lorian himself has told you that everything around you is you, and yet you pay no attention at all to your surroundings. And now that you begin to understand that your surroundings, the reality that you live in, is completely formed by these senses that we'll go deeper into, you may become conscious of the fact that you do not have to exist this way. No more. This far and no further have you come for the only simple reason that there is in existence. That you will answer the question. That you will be the answer to this question. And that you will end up as the one who asked it in the first place. And so now the floodgates are open. And so now we stand on this bridge. And the only way to step further is to stop believing in yourself. And now many will be puzzled. Isn't spirituality all about believing in yourself? I believe in me. I believe I am beautiful, no matter what they say. I believe that I have power. Yes, 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 all of these things are good. But if you believe in yourself, and if you believe in any given moment that this reality that surrounds you is not you, how do you think you're going to move beyond it? When I say you need to stop believing in yourself, you need to start opening up to knowing yourself, to completely owning yourself, to understand that you are all things. I do not say this lightly. I say this because those that will step with us onto this bridge and move beyond the space that we currently inhabit will begin to see drastic changes in their reality. And maybe you may have the feeling that you are not ready to move further. If that is the case, I implore you, stop here and get the job done. Whatever it is, whatever is hampering you at this moment, get the job done. Move beyond it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to exist in that space anymore. You're just there because you're so damned used to it. You're just there because you think that it's the only way. That you need to suffer. That you need to answer phone calls of realities, abstract realities that you no longer want to face. Well then, cut yourself off. Stop it. Start making a true choice. The sense of direction, ladies and gentlemen, is the most divine sense known to be in existence at current. Knowing where you want to go. Knowing where you have been. Knowing what you want to be in existence. When I call you my brothers and sisters, it is coming forth from my sense of direction. Because that is the path I want us to travel, you see. That is where I want us to be. In the space of brothers and sisters. In brotherhood and in sisterhood. And that sense of direction immediately manifests that in my reality. So how can there be warfare in my reality? How can there be anything that takes me away from that sense of direction? I tell you, cut yourselves off. Stop this game, stop this nonsense. If you really want to move beyond it, it's time to really start making that choice. I know you're all tired. You're as tired as I was when I was at that point. Frustration. Experiencing a mismatch of energy, cut it away. It's only a sense that is telling you that your universe is too narrow, that the energy levels do not match. Why stay in a bathtub when the water is too darn hot? Why not simply change the heat of the water? That is what your senses are showing you. That is how your senses communicate to you the essence behind the senses. What is your most perfect and desirable reality? And suffering simply means not making the choice to choose for your essence. To choose to move your essence into a space where it can flourish, where it can sense what it wants, where it can experience that which makes it expand, and from there on creates expansion to the whole galaxy, the whole universe, and all beings with it. The answer to this question, why not do it, is very simple. There is a cycle going on at this point in your soul which has created a certain laws of sovereignty. And this loss of sovereignty, which is a deeply implanted soul fear, simply means that you think that you have to suffer. Look at your religions. What is the first thing you are told, let's say the Christians amongst us, that you are a sinner, that you are in original sin. This original sin is nothing else but a reflection of the loss of sovereignty. So instead of believing that you have separated yourself from God, I challenge you to say, celebrate the fact that you have separated yourself from God. Because in that act you celebrate that aspect which you have once called God in becoming your own sovereign Godhood, your own sovereign being. That is the normal process of creation. That is why Creator has generated you and has made you into its own image, because Creator is simply another version of you, another aspect of you, another part of you, where in the end all of us are one. This is the importance of understanding these senses, because if you do not start to work with them, if you do not start to accept these things and start practicing them, you will notice that you cannot move into ascension status. Even though we have always talked about ascension instead of ascension, and this word still holds true. Yes, it is true that you will move into ascension status within this reality. But no, it is not true that this reality can then in any way contain you. Making the choice to step into that ascension status simply means that you start sensing what your reality truly is all about. And then alchemy will come into play. The very simple alchemy of taking away those attributes where you sense that your reality is restrictive. That will be the practical part of working with these things. Now, the beautiful part is that these 12 senses, each connected to 12 DNA strands making up the whole 144, exist on the horizontal plane. So beginning to play with these things, as you will begin to play with them in the next few weeks and the next few months, basically means that you begin to get used to existence on the horizontal plane, and automatically remaining subfrequential realities, remaining vertical mental existence will be obliterated from your reality. But I challenge you, be prepared. Prepare yourself for this. Your life, as you move through this hologram that we are creating together will no longer be the same. It won't work the same, it won't feel the same, it won't be the same. If you're not ready to say goodbye to some old aspects of yourself, before you move into this, I ask of you, cut the cord, make the choice, step through it. I know it sounds scary. I know there still are some things inside of you that don't quite feel right, don't quite feel ready to let go of them, you think. I don't really know, Ekara, if I want to let that one go. I know that one is attached to all of these over here, but you know what? All of these over here I don't really have a problem with. So those I can let go. And then you fool yourself because those things over here that you are able to let go are connected to this one thing. The time of compromising yourselves, my dear friends, is over. The time of doing it 99.9% of the way is over. Cut the cords. Make the choices. Because we have a space waiting together. A journey waiting together. And I know it is the calling of your soul to step into that. I know it is, because otherwise you would not feel something when I speak of the sense of direction. You know that this is already operational inside of you. So why do I want to begin with discussing the sense of time? You may want to ask. I believe personally that time is your ticket out of here. Out of the space that you're in, out of the smallness that you still create for yourselves from time to time, out of the lack of focus that keeps you distracted from time to time. Time is the ticket out. Because when you begin to understand the sense of time, you will begin to see that all of these things that you don't like about your life can very easily be removed by changing your perception of time, by making time into a sense. And then you will begin to see that you own time, that you can claim time, that there is nobody who can tell you when to be where at any given moment. Oh, but we have a past agreement, so I now hold something mental in my hands because we have agreed upon something, yes? I'm sorry, but if that is what you want to believe, then you are stuck. If that is what you want to see, if you want to choose anything out of the past and prove you're right to be in a certain reality with that past, then you are recreating energy that already exists. And this then is the big difference between old energy paradigms and a new energy paradigm. Old energy structures were all based upon creating a stable energetic base, the root of a tree. And from that base, add new energy to it so that the tree of your creation can grow. This is old energy existence, is it not? You begin a career at age 20 or 25 or 85 in some cases, and you try to hold on to that career as long as you can. If you happen to be born in Asia and you lose that career, you choose to let go of life in some cases. And so you do it with everything. You do it with your careers, you do it with your love, you do it with everything in your life. You create a house, and the old energy paradigm of that house needs 20 or 30 years in some cases of adding to financial resources so that that manifestation can be there forever. Have you ever thought of this, what this means? You're working for 30 years within the same energy realm. Now that's exciting. On the other hand, new energy allows you to step into your creations and look at your creation manifesting the whole tree at once. And in that moment, your new energy has created that tree. But it doesn't have to be added to. It doesn't have to be held on to. It doesn't have to be revisited. Because in the next moment, when you start to work with the pineal gland or the pineal lobe and all of these things that we are now discussing, this energy is already gone. And new energy has already replaced it. This is the symbology of using the word new in front of energy, because at every single moment energy moves through you and creates a new. Using the sense of time will allow you to read your essence and to understand how long you want this energy to be in this certain form. But there will be no dread or no fear when the energy dissipates and new energy is generated to either continue or drastically change or completely obliterate what was previously there. And all of those things are perfectly fine. Oh, I know that the body's original owner, let's say, in which I now sit, or walk rather, thinks of these things as well. Thinks of his own creation as something that must be precise and must be categorized and must be added onto and in perfect balance for it to be meaningful. And so when unexpected things happened to this body and the original owner I now sit in, and things that were agreed upon in previous sessions that we did together with friends such as Kutumi or Adamus, let's say, gatherings, points of information in time, these things that were agreed upon and could not become manifest because reality, let's say, chose differently, this to him is seen as a failure. This to him puts the quality of what is being said and the essence of what is being given into doubt. And it would do for you as well, in many cases, when you create something. Let's say, for instance, the one who is out there right now, and many with him, by the way, who has once started writing a book, about 7 years ago, and in some cases even longer. And this is still sitting somewhere on a closet or in one of your computers, in one of your hard drives, and the book has never been finished. It could very well be that the reason for this is your sense of time, generating within you a field of failure. And why? Because the old energy that was once there to start the book was added to by new sessions in writing the book, and there were a couple of flares of activity that allowed the book to grow, but never did it get finished. In an old energy, basically, that creation is lost. The energy of it is wasted, you could say. Within the field of new energy, however, this creation keeps refreshing itself as you, as a new energy creator, move through energy cycles. So, even though there is a manuscript somewhere that hasn't been touched for 7 years, my dear friend, as you are connected to this creation and you are now in a new energy realm, your own energy having changed, this has affected what you have created 7 years ago. And you can, at any given moment, choose to reactivate that creation, re-energize it, quite literally, sometimes completely obliterating it. And these things are still present within your life. It is time to go back into your past and look at all of these creations that you still have, that are still based upon old energy, that have not found a goal, that are still there. They do not really hamper you, or they will not stop you completely, but they will slow you down, because your mind is still trying to look for purpose there. Purpose has once been given, a purpose which at this point in time can no longer be fulfilled, and all of us knew, including yourself, before you ever came to this earth, that to be here in these times of transitional changes, of great changes, that this would occur to you, because you started out in an old energy paradigm and are now in a new energy paradigm. Many of these things are still there within that paradigm. And so a part of you still exists as an old energy paradigm. It is time to methodically go through all of these things in your life and finally revamping them, obliterating them, recharging them with new energy, or to finally say goodbye and begin creating anew. Whatever this means for you. This will mean different things for you, and if you personally want to find out what it means for you, I also invite you to go to your neocortex, to be in your pineal gland or in your pineal lobe or in your akonai whenever you are ready for that, and to allow us, you and I, to interact and to show you which things in your very existence, in your very reality, are not in line with the senses that we will begin discussing together in the few weeks that we have to do this. So take that time, take that moment within your existence to go through everything you own, as if you were inventorizing yourself. And when I say own, I do not mean only your possessions, I mean everything you own, everything you claim as you, including your past. Go through all of these things. And finally start the cleanup process. When beloved Kutumi, a beloved brother sister of mine, spoke through another vessel about eating the elephant, about how half of your change had already occurred and the other half had not occurred yet. This is the very thing that was meant. It is time to truly start inventorizing yourself and to see what you really want to start taking on this journey. Because you can fool yourselves and sit there at home or sit there wherever you are and think that you're going to take all of this with you. I tell you, you are not a tortoise. You do not carry your house on your back. You do not carry all of these possessions on your back. All of these possessions, in the shape they currently exist in, are old energy possessions. Old energy objects, whether they be truly objects or whether they be thoughts or memories that belong to a certain past. And all of it does not have to be taken with you. You have a chance, before you finally leave, let's say, before you finally go on this journey, to look around you, look within you, see what still belongs there, see what needs to be re-energized, obliterated, changed, whatever. And to know this, to know what these things are in your life, is to understand the sense of time. Let's get poetic for a little while. Time is a river of energy. And the river can be an exciting river with top speeds that moves you through all of these things. Or the river can be nice and slow, with you laying in the boat gently rocking, knowing that the waters are safe. All of this can be contained within the sense of time. The moment you feel that there is anything that takes you out of that exciting river, or that takes you out of that silent, relaxing river, it is your essence indicating to you, through your sense of time, that you are not in alignment, with the reality around you. And this also means, in a perfect scenario with 144 activated strands, that some of your energy strands, 12 to be precise, connected to the sense of time, are out of whack, are not in line with what your essence around you, inside of you, everywhere, wants to generate. And then you can either try fitting into a life where you continuously run or continuously are affected by time that you now see as something separate from you, or you start to make these changes. Making these changes, once and for all, is what your next few days, or let's say your next few weeks maybe, should be about. This holographic information, as presented in a patterning of 144 eventually, is not simply something that is outside of you. It is something that you connected to and that you are co-creating. Meaning that to truly be this information, to truly resemble this hologram of New Earth, and what you want to be within that, is to take these steps. You have asked for it, my dear friends. You have wanted change to come. Well, change is here. In the words of a famous Saint Germain, I would say, yes, we can. And this is indeed true. Yes, you can. Yes, you can finally make those changes. You can finally let go of the things that bother you. You can finally allow yourself to be brave enough to do this. You can finally allow yourself to start living, to start existing. Fear around the lack of money? Fuck it. Fear around the lack of food? Fuck it. Wanting cigarettes but you ran out and you don't have any money to buy some new? Fuck it. Stop accepting that this is how reality works. Working with a sense of time has a very strong impact on your relationship to money. You know that money is not really energy. Money is simply a reflection of your energy. So, think about this for a minute. The quicker your sense of time moves, the more money you need. Because that is how this reality is set up. The more time passes, the more money you need. The quicker time passes, the more of a budget you will need to suffice the passing of that time. If you can become perfectly aligned with your sense of time, you will begin to understand that that is what you will emit. And since money is connected strongly to time, that is how you have set it up, yes? It simply will start to align with you. As you align with time, so the reflection of your own energy in this construct of a reality called money will also start to align with you. This sense of time and slowing it down will also allow you to regain more control of things such as age, because that is something that most of you are still struggling with. The sense of time can help you move through a reality that you no longer choose. Consider these senses as attributes, really. Consider these senses as attributes of reality. When you are in a reality moment, where you are in lack of time, let's say, or are in an expansion of time within the frequential range, an example of that would be to have a disease, for instance, that is going to be affecting the way how your reality continues. You can choose the sense of time as an attribute and apply it to the reality that you no longer choose. So let's say that, for instance, you are suffering from a disease, or you are suffering from a type of lack. You have the power, once you start to understand the sense of time, to attribute to that reality a certain time slot, and then to move out of it. To move out of that reality, to let it go. Your sense of direction will help you on that path. And as you begin to understand your sense of thinking, you will begin to notice that all you have to do is to start looking for areas within yourself where those thoughts exist. Because that is what navigates you to that reality eventually that you want to perceive, rather than the one that you are currently perceiving. This is the most simple way to explain to you how you work with your DNA and how effective working with your DNA truly is. How completely interactive this whole experience really is. Think about it. Would you ever, if you were to be a computer programmer, would you ever want to design a computer game that is restrictive? Or would it be your wish, that one that is out there right now, that is on the verge of creating real artificial intelligence? The one that is out there right now, that is on the verge of breaking through the barrier of matter and energy. The one who has combined science, technology, and biology together in their head, and are about to come up with a wonderful way to finally move one object of matter to another place in space-time. Yes, you, I'm talking to you. Do you finally get that this reality begs you to be interactive with you? Your sense of time, coupled with the attribute of acceleration, will give you the breakthrough that you need. Will allow you to understand that nothing here really needs to be restrictive, and that you have control over that. An important thing to mention when you truly start to work with these things is that you are going to feel that aspects of your frustration want to keep you out of the big things in your life. For the longest time you have searched to change things within you, but when it came down to certain aspects, certain repetitive gestures within your own nature that you simply did not want to look at, these are the things that I challenge you now to look at. These are the fields where you really should start practicing with all of this. Stop with the small. Stop with the little experimentation. Stop with wanting to change the digital clock on your microwave oven, and then to think that you have a certain purpose or a certain sense of control within your reality. Stop trying to walk through walls. Stop trying to break through to the next level, but really begin looking at the big things that are still hampering you in your reality. Those are the most important eddies that you will find in your river of time, and when you can straighten those out, the more direct and directed you can let that sense of time, that river of time become, the more easy it will be for you to accept the flow of new energy and to align the sense of time with the flow of new energy, meaning that quite literally you as an explorer are on that river looking at the shore, which would then be the reality, but never really touching the shore. If you can accept that you stay on that river, that you stay afloat, you will also begin to realize that it is not really you who are moving on that river, but that it is the river moving underneath you, and that you are the center and the heart of all things. Working with the big things will show you this. Allowing the difficulties now in your life to be cut away by walking through them. Stop the complaining that you do about what you are and how difficult it has been for you. And start accepting that by your simple choice, which is again a sense, you can make things really easy for yourself. Start accepting this. Start cutting away those things by facing them once and for all. I promise you, this is what you will need to do if you want to get beyond that bridge. If you want to get to that space where this being known as Lorien and many others are, if you want to finally understand that you are more like us, then you will choose to believe. That is where you will get, my dear friends. And it's time to make that choice. This concept that you call channeling, which is occurring with me right now, is changing tremendously. This reality is an interactive experience. And taking that will become the foundation for this type of work. Like Lorien himself said, if you can allow your sense of time, and this is my addition to it, if you can allow your sense of time to flow in such a way that we could be working with you during these talks, during these moments, on a very direct, interactive level, on the inside of you, while you focus on the presence of me now right here. All of these things that you finally want to move through would be moved through. I am an undefined being with the ability to be with all of you on a very personal level right now. Allow that to happen. Allow that very private part of me that only exists because it is connected to you to move. Allow us to dance. Allow our energy strands to meld together just for this moment, just for this experience. We are here, reaching out. We are here, wanting to assist you to move through that which still stops you. Understanding the sense of time is what I want to offer you in this moment. Take my hand. Close your eyes. Open them. And let's focus on one thing that bothers you in your reality right now. Let this be a little exercise where that simple focus and the openness for our energy realms to connect will show you a different way, a different path, and all I really do is not fix the problem for you. All I really do is to invite your sense of time and acceleration to be more in line, to be more matched with mine. The only reason why a problem reoccurs in your reality is that you have chosen to stop the flow within the sense of time and to be still on the water, anchored, if you will, so that the same scenery, the same situation keeps occurring, even though within the illusion of this reality you seem to be on the move and days seem to pass. And now we come to a very important point. The sense of time and how I define the word time is not your clock time. It is not your time as you can see it all over this earth whenever you look at your cell phones or your digital watches or your internet screens, etc., and things of that nature. The sense of time I'm talking about is very different, and it truly entails the combination of the word sense with the word time. It is how you perceive time that shows you the need of your essence to either expand, let's say, or shrink. Do you feel the difference? Somewhere inside of you there is a river where these things come together and where you understand that your clock time actually is relatively meaningless to this sense of time. Your poets and your practical mothers and fathers, let's say, have always told you that if you are in a situation that you like, time seems to move fast. And if you are in a situation that you don't like, time seems to go really slow. This is because you are not operating within the sense of time. And so there is an inside reflection of time and an outside reflection of it. An inner and an outer realm to time as well. In the outer realms, time is a result of your energy strands connected to the level of vibrational translation that is occurring within your brain. On the inner realms, your sense of time is these very same energy strands, but not connected to the objects and the situation around you, but connected to your perception of it. The parameters for this are very simple. And the parameters are love, joy, and freedom. This is how your essence navigates the reality it is in if it were given the choice. Has it the ability to experience love, joy, freedom, and I will now add the concept of expansion to that, the concept of growth, and the concept of reflection. Is your inner being, is your essence experiencing those things? Then it will be a natural effect of the sense of time to decelerate and time to come to an almost standstill. And this is a very Lemurian thing to do. You may or may not be aware of this, but as Lemurians, we had, and in the futures that are possible, will have a choice to perceive a moment in a very different way. So yes, there is natural time outside of you, and there is the inner sense of time within you. And if you choose to exist within a moment, your sense of time will have the ability to decelerate the evolution of that moment on the flow of natural time. And for you to exist within that moment will be one of the most simple things that you have ever done. How about getting lost in a moment of a kiss? How about getting lost in the takeoff of a bird as it begins to lift itself out of the water? How about to slow down your perception in that moment to really be there? That is what the interactive nature of this reality truly allows you within the sense of time. If you could accept this, your life would be completely different, would it not? My dear friends, I have not told you anything new tonight. I have not gone to places that I have not gone with you before tonight. I have not shown you anything that you hadn't seen before. I have merely attempted to pinpoint certain facets within yourself that are now slowing you down by accelerating you. Do you understand this? If not, think about it, and you will. That has been my attempt for tonight. To allow you to, as you reflect upon this information that was shared, see the booby traps that still remain in your existence, focusing most especially on time. And as you process this, and as I hope you will exercise with this, as I hope you will start to look at your reality, filtering your reality through what we have shared here tonight, you will take the time as the rest of this holographic manifest, let's say, will continue to build up, and a few pieces will be added to it before I will return. I hope you take the time to experience the things I've said, because next time I will speak about these 12 senses, we will go deeper into the sense of time and acceleration and discuss it from a different angle than we have right now. I will then share with you practical examples of how you can actually start to control this sense. And the reason why I am sharing the theoretical aspect or the more introductory aspect with you right now is that I need to know at what sense, at what level of sense you will take this information and how you will experiment with it. So based on all of you out there and everybody who will connect to this information, by the next time that I will be back here, I will have been able to evaluate, let's say, the status of your group consciousness in the awareness of the sense of time, and I will then know the easiest way to help you move through the level you are currently at. So I hope you really will take the time to experiment with this. We need to work together. We need to create this interactive hologram together. So I am looking forward to how you will play. I am looking forward to the questions that will come up within you as you move into other classes and other pieces of information and find links that you thought previously to be non-existent. Next time when we are back together, in this way, let's say, we will then finish our discussion about the sense of time and how it connects to your DNA. We will also go deeper into the evolution of the pineal lobe, why it has become smaller in the current state of humanity, and how to manifest this third lobe once again. Basically, non-defining the third brain, and how this will make your perception of reality as connected to time more loose, so that you can begin to really exist and experiment existing within the moment. It will be very fascinating for you as you will experience how your clock time can quite literally come to a stop. And you can observe the beauty of a raindrop hanging in front of you, the crystalline nature of a snowflake, what really exists as light when time does not influence it as a factor, and how it feels to move through rays of light, how it feels to actually see the manifestation of a rainbow, stop time and step into that rainbow and feel its light. But most importantly so, how beautiful it will be to let go of any sense of urgency, of any sense of having to move into something because the clock is always moving for you. How it will feel to start moving the clock, if you will, by accelerating and decelerating your sense of time. This is what you can do. This is what we will see you do. This is what we will play out together. And this is why I love you. I wish you happy playing, and we will see each other again. For now, the only thing that I can say, as I have always said, is that my heart is with you, that my passion is the air that surrounds you, and that I hope that we will meet where no shadows fall. And so it is.